Let me tell you guys something. All jokes aside, I think it's about time to cancel the Catholic religion as a whole with the type of stuff that is going on. And I want y'all to understand this. If you read the title of this video, this has been going on probably for generations, for a long amount of time. And I'm surprised that more people haven't come out and spoken out against this. Let me give you guys a disclaimer before we talk about these these people, man. You look at them like they are spokesmen for God, and they just do some of the craziest things. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And of course, I'm always using my trusty source, dailymail.com, so thank you for the article. Baltimore, y'all are taking the L, and I know we got some people here in the chat from Baltimore. I'm sorry, but that's where the story focuses on, but it's bigger really than Baltimore. I think it's really more about the whole Catholic religion, in my personal opinion. But Baltimore Catholic Church sexually abused at least 600 children over 60 years, Maryland AG has revealed in a shocking report. Put that in your cup of coffee and drink that. 600, not 6, not 60. 600. Have y'all ever been to a club, maybe even a church? Let's use a church with 600 people in there. And I want y'all to imagine if everybody probably in a building like about that size. Let me go back. Probably about that size. That might fit maybe about 300-400 people, maybe a little bit bigger than that. Might fit about 600 people. Imagine if every man, woman, and child inside of a building like that were sexually abused. Think about that over the course of 60 years. Some of these were preyed upon by multiple abusers over decades and were abused by over 150 clergy, people of the church, according to the Attorney General's office. A report published by the Maryland Office of Attorney General accused Catholic Church officials of engaging in a years-long cover-up of the abuse of children. And let me tell y'all this. I think everybody that was involved in doing this is going straight to hell. They're going to double hell, if that's even a thing. If there was like hell and then like heller, I don't know, like what would you call like something more than hell? Like they're going straight to the lake of fire. They're going to skip hell. They're going straight to the lake of fire. They engaged in covering this up so nobody will find out that they were sexually abusing vulnerable individuals. It identified how 156 abusers engaged in horrific and repeated abuse and took advantage of the trust of parents and the community. And I want y'all to understand this. Notice I don't have any names. They haven't put out any pictures of these people who are abusing children sexually. Why? Because it's the church? So the church needs to be protected? Is that what we doing? I don't care who abuses babies. Everybody's asses need to be exposed. I want every picture and every name on the damn screen. But we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there sooner than later. The investigative report found that the abuse varied widely and the children sexual abuse by the clergy, seminarians, deacons, and employees of the archdiocese spanned over decades. They said 60 years. And it revealed that the abuse continued even after the victims came forward, as leaders of the archdiocese repeatedly dismissed reports and exhibited little to no concern for the victims. Following a 4-year-long investigation, a 463-page report was published this week that named several priests and described what they alleged to have done. Let's keep going. The Maryland Office of Attorney General in 2018 launched a grand jury investigation into the Archdiocese of Baltimore. And the Office of Attorney General also set out to investigate efforts by the leadership of the Catholic Church to hide sexual abuse. On Wednesday, Maryland's top prosecutor, State Attorney General Anthony Brown, accused Catholic Church officials of engaging in years-long cover-up of the abuse of children. The investigative report, which outlined abuse from the 1940s, wow. Y'all can go look this up. From the 1940s through 2002, comes amid an ongoing reckoning with widespread abuse and cover-ups by church leadership around the world. Around the world. Say that again. The Maryland Attorney General's office said that it identified 156 abusers who engaged in horrific and repeated abuse. It noted how the abusers often took advantage of parents or a community's trust. I think I can skip some of this. Let me read this part. The report said certain parishes were bases of multiple abusers, such as St. Mark Parish in Cantonsville, where it said 11 child abusers lived and worked from 1964 to 2004. The shocking report outlined the ways in which abusers preyed upon their victims varied widely, but all took advantage of the position of authority and respect afforded to priests and other clergy within the Catholic communities. I think I can skip the rest of this. It is a lot to read. You guys can go look that up on Daily Mail. Let me give you the shorter version and give you guys the fair usage and let you look at a couple news videos. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. You know, I think that is ironic, and that's a great point. Thank you, Juicebox. The fact that they went through hell and high water to take down R. Kelly for what he allegedly did to some folks that might have been underage, and I say might, quote unquote, or those who might have been abused. Some were adults also. They took him down and tried to give him life in prison. But what are they doing to these Catholic priests? Is this going to get swept under the rug too? I guess we'll have to find out. Hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about that. But that's a good point, though. Here we go.
More than 150 Catholic priests and others associated with the Archdiocese of Baltimore sexually abused over 600 children, often escaping accountability. That's according to a long-awaited report from the Maryland Attorney General's office revealing the horrific scope of abuse spanning some 8 decades. The report accuses church leaders of decades of cover-ups and paints a damning portrait of the Archdiocese, which is the oldest Roman Catholic diocese in the country. Anthony Brown is the Attorney General of Maryland and joins us now. Thank you for being with us. Your investigation found that over 600 young people, from preschoolers to young adults, suffered sexual abuse and physical torture in some cases by clergy members from the 1940s through 2002. That's the year at which this investigation ended. Clergy in some cases preyed on children who were recovering in hospitals. Give us a sense of...
I think that's another well point taken. Somebody in the chat said Michael Vick over the dogs. And that was a national outcry over animals. But are we going to have that same type of energy that they had for R. Kelly, that they had over Dogs and PETA, over the abuse over a period of 60 years? And they had almost 500 pages worth of documented abuse of children over 60 years. And this ain't going to be national news.
The full picture of depravity and evil that your investigation uncovered in the church.
You know, that's a tall order in that we interviewed, as you mentioned, close to 600 survivors, many other witnesses. We reviewed hundreds of thousands of documents that were produced to us through the grand jury subpoena by the Archdiocese of Baltimore. And what we saw, and we tried to detail in the report, was pervasive abuse by priests, seminarians, deacons, and other employees of the Archdiocese, and this intentional effort by the Catholic Church hierarchy to conceal this abuse.
Far worse than ever imagined. New and harrowing details following a 4-year investigation into Maryland's Catholic Church, now revealing the scope of sex abuse and torture going back 80 years.
Today, certainly in Maryland, is a day of reckoning.
The revelations in the middle of Holy Week coming in the form of a heavily redacted 463-page report by the Maryland Attorney General's office. Yet it still details how 156 clergy and other church officials throughout the Archdiocese of Baltimore tormented more than 600 children from the 1940s to 2002.
This is a full accounting. There are details of repeated, tortuous, terrorizing, depraved abuse.
On Wednesday, abuse survivors descending outside the Maryland Attorney General's office.
I'm actually more in shock than relief. We've waited 4+ years for this. He's been in jail now for 26 years, but that's only been half justice. The other half has been today with the release of this report, where we can expose the hideous cover-up of the Archdiocese of Baltimore.
The report authors note the staggering pervasiveness of the abuse itself underscores the culpability of the church hierarchy.
Let me say this real quick, because y'all know that I participated in religion, more or less Christianity. I come from a Baptist background and left that eventually for just flat out Christianity. Like, I don't really too much really like the whole black theme and Baptist church, and that's just what I grew up in. I just got tired of it and wanted to kind of go a different route, and became pretty comfortable with Christianity for the most part. So I'm more or less spiritual as opposed to religious now. Like, I'm just kind of just off the religious train. I think that they just have too many hidden agendas and motives, and just, you have to be real careful with dealing with these churches. And I'm not trying to scare anybody from not going to church, but what I will say is this: at this point, you don't hear more bad stuff coming out of any religious organization than you do the Catholic Church. And you'd have to ask, at this point, why the hell are people still going to Catholic Church? Why are people that desperate to get their tickets stamped to go into heaven that you're going to put at risk your children, you put at risk yourself, you put at risk your family, your lineage, to be a part of what group? For what? Are we that desperate to think that you don't read your Bible, you're going to hell? You miss a day of church, you're going to hell. You miss tithing, you're going to hell. You miss Bible study, you're going to hell. But these people in here are sexually abusing your kids, but they're going to heaven. They're going to help you get into heaven. When you talk about that God can see your unclean heart. See, I know some of this stuff. I could talk to y'all about some of this, right? Yeah, denominational churches have their own books. Yeah, man, it's just, when you talk about God can see your unclean heart, then imagine what this is like when you continue to keep going to church and following behind these nasty ass individuals. But they want to castigate the public. They want to point the finger at everybody else. But what happens when you point the finger at everybody else? Then you have four fingers pointing back at yourself. And that's what we talk about when you're talking about judging. When people say that you can't judge and you shouldn't judge. No, you should judge righteously. That's what the Bible intended. The Bible is written in parables. It doesn't mean everything figuratively. You are supposed to take it, understand it, and apply it as it's supposed to be applied. Everybody catch that? At this point, I think that everybody should take a stand and stop going to all Catholic churches. Send a freaking message. Get some nuts. Get some cojones. Get some balls. Take a stand for your kids. If anybody goes to Catholic church after this point, you get what you get. Find something else to do with your time. Don't go to church for a year. Take a stand, man. Do something. Sheesh.
The author's going out to call out church officials who not only covered up abuse, but in some cases paved the way for it to continue. Among some of the cases, disturbing details, including a deacon who admitted to abusing more than 100 children. Another priest who, even after psychiatric treatment, still went on to abuse as many as 20 boys.
That has weakened some people's faith. And I think we have to recognize that's what scandal does. It gives people a reason not to believe. A lot of people, though, have been saddened, but they are steadfast.
The Archbishop of Baltimore, William Lori, weighing in, calling the report shocking and soul-searing.
I'm sorry, but some of these dudes just look like you just shouldn't have children around them. I don't know. I don't care who it is in the clergy, in the church. I don't leave my kids around anybody. When I sent my daughter to summer camp, I went to summer camp with my daughter. Even though it was through the church, even though it was based in religion, even though there were hundreds of good people there and leaders that I actually know them personally, I still, as a father, took my daughter and was there with my daughter, did not leave her unattended.
Inviting parishioners to take a second look at the church, saying they've made, quote, radical changes to make sure it never happens again.
I've experienced from people in the pews a lot of love and support, especially during these days. And I do think that people love their priest, and our priests have borne a very heavy burden with this as well.
Today, certainly in Maryland, is a day of reckoning and a day of accounting.
Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown was referring to this 463-page report that documents...
Oh, and I meant to actually give Mookie a shout out. Let me read that again. He said, that's what we mean by Bible thumpers. Use the Bible as a shield for them, but a sword towards you. That's exactly, when I say Bible thumpers, that's exactly what I mean. But thank you for calling that out.
It's, quote, the depraved and systemic failure of the Archdiocese to protect the children it was charged to keep safe.
This is a full accounting. There are details of repeated, tortuous, terrorizing, depraved abuse.
The investigation uncovered the extent of the power and authority the clergy used to exploit the trust of the children. They told their victims the abuse was God's will. Some threatened that the victim or the victim's family would go to hell if they told anyone. They attempted to normalize sexual behavior as roughhousing. According to the report, certain parishes had multiple abusers. St. Mark's in Catonsville had 11 child abusers living and working there from 1964 to 2004. 4 parishes had 6 abusers, including St. Michael Overley. The report cites a case where a sexually abused child came to a priest for counseling. his parents so trusting, they let him spend the night. The report says the priest raped him for 5 years.
Now, I can't read the words that Juicebox put in there, but you guys can actually read her comment. And I 100% agree, talking about sending the boys to Catholic school. So it's basically just a sexual playground for them at that point. Like, that's what it seems like. To go through, I think that at any point, if they become alone with children, this is what they're doing. That's what I'm made to believe. So I 100% agree with you. I just can't say the words that you put in there for the YouTube algorithm because I don't want to get flagged. But I 100% agree with you. That's what I believe that's going on.
A distraught father of a young girl demanded a priest be removed. The priest confessed to an uncontrollable attraction to young girls and a yielding to temptation from time to time. The archdiocese quietly got him into psychiatric treatment and reassigned him to desk work where he would not be exposed to temptation.
It's not only churches, it is schools associated with the archdiocese.
So he was reassigned. He told you he had a craving for little girls. He was reassigned and still kept his job. Hashtag cancel the whole Catholic religion, man. Hashtag cancel Catholic. Cancel it. Cancel it. Those are my words.
So the institutions associated with the respective archdioceses are the target of our investigations.
The report details the abuse by Father Maskell. At least 39 people reported being sexually abused by him. 9 girls described being given tea, soda, or wine, or even being hypnotized. 7 girls complained they were forced to have sex with Maskell and other men. The AG's report indicates that Maskell and Father Magnus worked as a team, abusing the girls at Archbishop Keogh High School. Many of the victims who were sexually abused by Maskell described Magnus as participating in and being present for the abuse.
But for an insurmountable legal obstacle, we will do everything we can to bring those abusers and those who enabled them to justice.
Thanks, everyone. That's going to end up being a new hashtag of mine. Hashtag cancel the whole Catholic religion. Hashtag cancel Catholicism. I don't get it. And anybody that still supports the Catholic religion at this point, I think that at some point we need to look at this in a bigger scope and just say, hey, look, what's going on with our kids? This is a widespread problem. This is a problem that's been going on for a lot of years. And just like when you have any problem, when you have some type of abuse going on, especially when it comes to children, then you have to get rid of the whole thing, start over from scratch, tear it all down. It's completely infected at this point. Those people need to be in jail. Life sentences. Life sentences. Every single one of them that participated in this, that has their name on that docket, on those reports, have been accused of this stuff, need to have life sentences. Every single one of them. And they need to cancel all Catholic churches, all the Catholic religion. And fix this. But let me know what you guys think. I know that's probably further than most people thought I might go and say that. But let me know what you guys think, man. We'll see you guys on the next stream. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you.